Hello, welcome back to Latte Hour. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. For some of us, the holiday season is still in progress if you celebrate Mardi Gras or perhaps the Chinese New Year also coming up. For the rest of us, we are thoroughly exhausted, at least most of us. So hopefully, we all can shake back here pretty soon. But let's jump right in. I wanted to talk about what are we eating in America again and kind of do another deep dive and follow some developments that have occurred. So, if you haven't heard, the Attorney General of Texas has filed a lawsuit against grocers who are suspected of spraying even organic produce with pesticides and not informing the customers. And that product, I believe that is in the letter, is called Produce Max. And I'm sure there are other products as well. And so we'll just follow this case to see where that goes. I did notice a taste on my fish, and it tasted to me sort of chemical and sort of like a cornmeal feed, sort of. And so that's what led me to start questioning what are they spraying the food with to keep it fresh. And so once I went down the rabbit hole for what they sprayed the fish with, of course, I learned that they were spraying, as the Attorney General has suspected, the organic fruits and vegetables also with pesticides. And so that brings me to a documentary that I saw probably, I would say, 5 or so years ago. I wish I had bookmarked it, but I did not do that at the time. But I do remember some details about it. There was a lady on there saying she thought she had an allergy to blueberries, but it ended up being an allergy to the pesticide that was on the blueberries. Also, in the documentary, there was a lady who had an allergy to almond milk but could eat almonds. And then they went on to talk about how shrimp is sprayed heavily with pesticides in, I think they were specifically talking about another country besides America, but they didn't exclude America. And then they went on to show a shrimp farm that was using some really sustainable and more safe practices. And I really wish I had pegged it, because a lot of people that I know have recently come down with new shrimp allergies, and knowing the information from this documentary makes me believe that it may be a pesticide allergy and not an actual shrimp allergy. And I find it interesting that on a lot of travel videos that I watch, people with allergies in this country will go to another country and say that their allergy has not showed up. And so it really speaks to what is happening to the food in this country and in some other countries, because it really does depend on where they travel, right? Some countries are keeping their food clean, some countries, of course, are not. And so bringing that all back to the Attorney General of Texas, I think it's really admirable that Texas is looking into what they're doing to the food, because it feels like Americans are being assaulted through every aspect of their environment. So let's wait and see what comes of this inquiry or legal action. And so that brings me to the movie a while back when I was younger, and it was about a burger spot. You may have watched it, called Good Burger, and their competitor was putting in a chemical in the burgers called tramadol Now, I believe that's a made up chemical, but it kind of reminded me of how the food industry in some places are putting in things that customers did not agree to or are not aware of. And so that brings me also to another question as to what is natural flavors. So when I looked that up, it says these flavors are taken from plants or animals. And that really concerned me, not so much the plant part, but really the animal part, because what are these animals specifically? Because natural flavors seem to show up in every um, single type of food in the grocery store. It's pretty ubiquitous. You can find some foods that don't have it in there, but if you're buying a big brand name, you can almost bet that it's in there. And it makes me wonder why they're not naming what's in there, because I remember vividly in chemistry class that there was a standardized way to name chemicals. So I don't understand why they aren't able to do spectroscopy, excuse me, and figure out what these chemicals are and name them. And just the whole shady business of not naming that but naming everything else doesn't really sit well with me, especially when I go down conspiracy theory rabbit holes. It's like, well, if I needed to dispose of something and, put it somewhere, would not the best place be the food supply? Having people consume something that needed to be disposed, I feel like that's what evil minds would think of, and brings you again to the movie Soylent Green. And so I'm really hoping that the new Secretary of HHS can help us understand what natural flavors are. And so that is all I wanted you all to kind of think about today as you're sipping a nice latte or whatever drink you prefer, as always. And then one more update on the Affordable Care Act subsidies. Those did expire at the end of 2025. However, there was a action in the House that was passed with several Republican representatives in support of extending these subsidies. Of course, this has to go to the Senate, and so we will continue to follow the extension possibilities, and hopefully people can survive in this time when their premiums have likely risen because of these subsidy expirations. But in the meantime, I would encourage people to get with their communities, form sage advice groups. Of course, people should pay for people's sage advice, energy, and time, but performing sage advice groups can help people get through this time of struggle until the government can figure out the next steps. So, with that being said, welcome back from the holidays. The New Year's has been crazy. Hopefully, you all are taking care of yourself, and hopefully, you will look up further into some of the topics we discussed today. So, I think that's it. All right, bye now.